Good morning, world. Let's see who comes in to say hello. Don't forget to bring your tea or your coffee with you. Come and join me for a quick cup of tea and a chit chat. Done a bit of housework and I thought I should sit down now and do nothing for a bit. Let's see if anybody pops on. Is everybody busy working this morning? I'm sure someone will be out there. Julie, hello. How are you? Let's make sure this is on live chat so I've got everybody. No, it's not. There we go. How's things, Julie? All good, I hope. So I just decided after doing my housework this morning, or a bit of my housework, I haven't done all of my housework, that I'd sit down and have a cup of tea and do a little live stream for an hour. In probably about 10 minutes, I'm going to have to rush off into the kitchen and take my flapjacks out of the oven, because I've also made sugar-free fruity flapjacks. You're good. I'm glad to hear you're good. So this morning it started with absolute downpour. It had been raining all night long in the Oxfordshire area, and the wind was really strong, and it was horrific. I mean, it was, if you stepped outside, you'd be under a shower, like a power shower. And then we cancelled forest school session today because of how bad the wind and the rain was. We were like, there's no point, no one's going to turn up, and it's on clay soil, so it's just going to end up being a quagmire up there. And yeah, the sun came out. The minute we cancelled it, the sun started to appear, the rain stopped, the wind stopped, and we've got blue sky. So Heather and I were like, well, that's just sod's law, isn't it? So I said, go and hang some washing out, that'll counteract it. So we feel like we've kind of cancelled this session for nothing. But you can't keep going backwards and forwards. You have to make a decision before Heather leaves, brings all the stuff with her and sets up and what have you. So that's really frustrating. But did I just see Lindsay pop in? Lindsay, beware the unclean. Oh, well, if you had a positive lateral flow, Lindsay, I do suspect you would have had a positive PCR. That does tend to be the case. I've heard it the other way round more. I've heard that, you know, you get negative on the lateral flows, but because you know somebody who's got it, you get yourself tested with a PCR and it comes up. And it's something to do with the viral load, apparently. Lateral flows detect it when there's a high viral load, but PCRs can do the low either side, like just coming in and just going out. But yes, you are the second person from my internet friends who's tested positive this weekend. And I suspect many more of us will over the next few months. I hope you're not too ill. I hope you're doing okay and not feeling too rubbish. Well, that's good that David's come back negative. What about Craig? Just hacking cough and a runny nose. And that's the thing at the moment. There's so many coughs and colds that you just don't know, do you? Well, look at it this way, Lindsay. Let's hope you don't feel too bad, but let's hope that it means that you get, 10 days off. I know there's still all the housey stuff and you'll end up doing all of that kind of stuff, but let's just go with the fact that you can't go to work for 10 days. So let's just try and see a happy side of it for you. You can have some time off. You can't be forced in or anything. So we'll find a silver lining to it. He's planning to run away in Desmond so you can self-isolate. Well, that's even better, you see. Then it's just you and nobody else. You don't have to worry about anybody else. Although as long as he brings you supplies so that you've got food. It doesn't leave you starving. So my plans for today are to do more of my progress folders. So yesterday's video was a bit clickbaity, wasn't it, really? I was like, what, I've been putting it off long enough. And it's true, I have. I hate doing the folders. And I don't know why. I think it's because it's so faffy. I've got to get all the photos off my phone, and then I've got to put them all in, like I have to email them to myself. And then, oh, it's just a lot of faff. It's just so much faff. And then I do it all, I have to fire up the laptop and do it all on the laptop. And I have to move photos around and text boxes around, and it's just, so that's what puts me off, because I'm not very techie minded. So yeah, I get myself in a bit of a fluster beforehand and think, oh, I'll do it another day. But then of course more months go past, and I'm then having to go back over notes going, oh, okay, when did they start walking? When did they do this? Because I'm trying to fill observations into the folder from my notes that I've made, instead of just doing it at the time. So yeah, I just procrastinate too much with things like that. So I'm going to do some more of those progress books. I've got 3 out of 7, I think it is, done. So yeah, 3 out of 7. So nearly halfway, just under halfway. And then they'll all be up to date again, and that will feel good. That'll be another thing off my mind. What is everybody else up to today? I was going to go and get fuel this morning as well. I thought, while everyone's at work. But Lee's messaged me and he said it's a flipping nightmare. He went to work this morning. The queues at the garage were ridiculous, because he has to drive past a petrol station. He said the queues were ridiculous, and and the sandwich van hasn't arrived on the industrial estate. So he's worried about what they're going to do, him and Brendan are going to do for lunch. Because normally they would get food from the industrial estate, from the van that comes round. And I suspect the van's not been able to get fuel, so they're not doing deliveries today. And then if they don't rock up for whatever reason, he then goes to the Greg's at the petrol station. But he can't get into the petrol station because of the people panic buying the fuel. So I've suggested, there is a village just up the road from him. So I've suggested he goes and has a look in the shop. He might do some sandwiches. There's definitely a chip shop up there. Hold this thought. My flapjacks are beeping. I'll be back. I'm back. We're talking amongst yourselves, keeping each other occupied. So I've just put some hand cream on, and I'll put too much on, so now I'm spreading it everywhere. Okay, flapjacks are looking good. What did I miss? Let's have a look. What did I miss? Live chat. Julie's working. She's got me on in the background. How is work going? Everyone behaving? I did have an issue this morning. One of my current charges is having a challenging moment, let's say. And you know how they go through periods of time where they want to be the grown-up or the boss, if that makes sense. And so they just challenge everything. You ask them to do something, they ignore you. Then you end up having to tell them to do it, and they tell you you're being rude. And then you tell them to not answer back and to just do as they've been asked, please. And then they shout at you, at which point you raise your voice and say, you're being incredibly rude now. Could you just do as you're told? And you just end up in this battle of wills with them, and you're going, the grown up here, just take a deep breath. It's been a bit like that. So I've got one of those who's going through that kind of challenging moment, and yeah, trying to get him to school this morning was a challenge. So I'm glad I'm not working all day today. I'm glad I'm just doing before and after school. It's eases me into the week a little bit. It's been a really busy weekend actually. Well, yes, it has. I had a lot of things I was supposed to do, but actually yesterday I didn't leave the house. Although I was busy doing stuff, I didn't leave the house. So we've got 8 people in here. Has everyone got fuel in their car? Just thinking about what's current at the moment. Is anyone else following this really sad story in America? So I imagine anyone who's van lifey will be following this story that's in America of the young couple that went travelling, Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie. It's kind of just everywhere at the moment. So she was missing. He came home in the van without her. Didn't say anything to her family, but lawyered up. Then they went looking, FBI and what have you went looking for Gabby, but he wasn't speaking, so they didn't know really where to start looking. Lots of van life people in the van life community in America started bringing in tips of people who had seen them or had seen the van or things like that. So gave them a rough idea where to start looking. Sadly found her body, then went to his home to, I guess, haul him in for questioning, and he had been missing. Oh no, his family reported him missing. So it's a horrible story. You've got fuel, no queue near me. Well, I have 3 bars on Spog, but I feel it's going to go to 2 bars because it's been on 3 bars for a while. And I can push it for a bit longer, but I do need to go and get some at some point. I'm hoping Friday things will have calmed down because Kenzie's got this college open day and I need to get him there. He doesn't really fit very well in Lee's car, which is why we go in mine. But Lee's been going to be using his car backwards and forwards to work, so he's not going to have much fuel left by the end of the week. So yes, this story in America, I don't know if any of you have been following it, but it's really sad. And obviously something's happened. They're saying her death was not natural. So I don't know if they got into an argument, because there was police footage of them being pulled over a few weeks back and her very upset and him covered in scratches, and there'd been reports of them arguing and fighting. So it sounds like they had been arguing and fighting quite a bit. Quite a sad story. And there's all sorts of theories about he's gone off grid. He's lived off grid before, so he's gone off grid. Others are saying he took himself off into the bush to end his life. I mean, I just don't know. And they are combing the nature reserve where his van was, or his car was, and they haven't come up with him yet. So I kind of think, with all the sniffer dogs and everything else they're putting out there, and infrared, heat-seeking cameras and stuff, if he was alive out there, they would have found him. If he was dead, I would imagine the dogs and stuff would have picked up on it, but I don't know. It's a very strange and very sad story. Patrick, did I say good morning to you? Good morning, good morning, good morning. And good morning, David, from the House of Lurgy. I hear you have escaped so far and you're planning on running away. I think we're all going to get it at some point. I just hope that, Lindsay doesn't get too poorly and that you lot avoid it for a bit longer. The Lurgy. Unclean. Yeah, they're saying we're all going to get it now, and I believe it, because everything's pretty much back to normal. I forgot to put a mask on when I went into the school playground this morning, and it was because I was so flustered with this one child challenging me that by the time I got out the door and I was storming up the path like, let's just get to school, can you stop arguing with me, that I realised as I was sending them in that I hadn't put a mask on. But then I became really self-conscious about the fact I hadn't got a mask on, and I turned and looked around the playground, and actually only a handful of people had them on. So I don't know if more people are forgetting, or if, I mean, the school may have sent out a message saying don't worry about it now. I don't know. I'm not on the school list. Gemma's journey. How are you, Gemma? I haven't heard from you in ages. If you're going to do the whole van life thing, you really got to trust the person you are with. Yeah, and the thing is, as well, Nikki, is I don't think it's necessarily about trust. I mean, it is. You've got to absolutely trust the person that you're with. And I think she probably did. And I have this feeling that when you live in a tiny space and you're with somebody 24/7, day in, day out, and you've got the pressures that come with van life traveling, like we haven't got any water, we need to go and find water, the toilet needs emptying, you know. And in America, you've got such vast spaces between each place that you're like, well, we need water, but it's a 2-hour drive to the next wherever. I can imagine the pressure building up, and I may be wrong, and I like to see the good in people. I feel that probably something happened and he didn't intend for her to die. I don't know if he just, there were things people were saying about him pushing her out, you know, pushing her. And I wonder if he pushed her and she fell back and hit her head. It's just, I don't know. It's just, I don't think he was necessarily a dangerous person or is a dangerous person, but I could be completely wrong. I like to see the good in people, so I just feel like whatever happened was an accident, but because he didn't deal with it, it's obviously going to be classed as something else. So instead of calling the police and an ambulance and everything else and just saying we got into a fight and I pushed her and then dealing with the consequences, he went on the run. But I might be completely wrong. But I couldn't live with somebody in Spog. I couldn't share Spog with somebody in that small space. And their van's smaller than mine. That's just for like one night trip somewhere. I couldn't share my space. I can't imagine traveling for like a month or 2 months or more with, no matter how much you love somebody. I think you'd want to throttle them. I don't know. Maybe I'm just fussy and and she was saying she was getting stressed about the dirt in the van, and that's when she was saying she was upset because of the dirt in the van and things like that. And that's the kind of thing that would trigger me. Is I don't like I like sand on a beach, but I don't like sand in my sleeping area or my comfort area. Sand stays on the beach, doesn't come inside. But obviously if you're traveling, it would, and that would irritate me, and day after day after day that would make me feel quite stressed. And I like to have a shower every night, and if I'm hot and sticky and covered in sand and grub, and then I've got to go into bed and I can't have a shower, I'd get frustrated. So I think you've got to be really comfortable with grubbing it and what have you a bit. Discovery World, hello. I'm good, thank you. How are you? Who else have we got in here? Got the good one, hello. You've been pressured by your family. It's driving you nuts. Oh dear, why? I'm very good, thank you, got the good one. Another person I haven't chatted to in ages. It's because I don't do live streams. Is that child like that with their family? Yes, at the moment, this particular child that is making my life a little bit tricky is, he's been universally challenging at the moment. So I think it is just he's at a point where he's trying to, I think he's probably reasserting his boundaries. So he's probably pushing against us to see if, one, if the boundaries are still there, and two, to see if he can get away with a bit more. But because we all then go, it's not happening, he'll fight and fight and fight for a bit, and then hopefully he'll go back to how he was and be like, right, okay. That tends to be the process. I find. Where were we? C-Dub, hello. Oh, I'm sure you'll have been following this story, won't you, C-Dub? Because it's American. I worry other missing persons cases will go forgotten now. All the attention is on this one. So many people worldwide. It's true, Sean. And the thing is, only a handful make the media big. You know, some of them never get media attention, ever. And I don't know what makes the difference, but I think this particular case is just, it's got a lot of unusual elements. And because they were already had a social media presence and the whole van life element to it, I think that's probably why it's hit the media so hard. I imagine. You went to a wedding reception at the weekend, the first time to a venue where there's lots of germs. Sounds like a good night, but yes, there will be lots of germs. So yeah, the people who are getting ill now with COVID are often ones that I'm finding have been to a wedding, or they've been to a gig, or they've been to an event with lots of people, even an outdoor event, because the minute we start mixing, well, we are mixing, aren't we, then, but we can't live inside forever. Discovery World, I'm good, thank you, I'm good. Patrick, couldn't live with someone in a 8 meter squared space 24/7. No, I couldn't. Need time to myself for my own sanity. Yeah, I do. And actually my spog time is just that. I know, like today, it's a Monday morning, and so I've taken the kids to school, and now it's just me until 3 o'clock when I pick them up. But it's not really my time, because I've mopped floors, I've made flapjack, I've done the dishes, I've put a load of washing on, I've put a load in the tumble dryer, I've cleaned the bathroom, so we're looking at just gone 10 o'clock and I've already ploughed through a whole load of jobs that need doing. And I'm sitting here for an hour doing a live stream, and then I'll be back on doing another bunch of jobs that need doing. So although I have my own space, I'm actually not doing things I want to do, I'm doing things that need to be done. And when I go away and spog, I can't do the housework, and I can't do the laundry, and I can't, I wash up what I use. It's only my own mess that I'm dealing with. And it's just easier. And I can go for a walk when I want to go for a walk, or I can sit and read. I don't have to worry about anyone else making any noise in the house and distracting me while I'm reading. If I want to watch a YouTube video, I can watch a YouTube video, because normally in this house, other people have got devices either with YouTube going or a game going or something. So it's hard for me to watch something because other people in the room are already watching stuff. And I don't like headphones. They make my ears itch. So yeah, I tend to watch YouTube in the bath, or I watch a lot of videos. When they come up on your news feed and a video will start and I just read the subtitles. So I'm not really watching the video as such. I'm reading the subtitles. There's no sound at all on. I do that a lot because other people in the house are making noise. Not sure about the American case. I think you have a school friend whose son went missing in Portugal over 5 years ago. Nothing has ever been heard or seen of him since. But still hopeful. My goodness. So how old was the son? Like, are we talking really young, or are we talking about, was he traveling in Portugal? That's really sad. It's the not knowing. I mean, it's bad enough if you go, we found a body, but at least you have closure, and you can mourn, and you can have, you can move forward. It's that not knowing and constantly thinking, almost seeing them everywhere you go, and that must be soul destroying. They do say live out of your van, not in it. Those folks do not know Scottish winters. Yeah, and in fairness, these guys did have a tent, and they were putting tents up and stuff like that, but That doesn't work here unless we're on a campsite, an actual campsite. You can't just pull up on the side of the road, throw your tent out. Um, and yeah, you couldn't do that in Scotland, either with the midges or with the winters. I mean, it's just totally different here. Oh, everyday things. Oh, it's good to see you as well, Gemma. Yeah, we're all good, thank you. CW, we are doing well. Minxie, hello. Yes. Check out Minxie's channel, people. You've got to go say hello to Minxie. She just pops in to say hello to me. What are you reading at the moment, Laura? I was watching your reading vlog yesterday. Some of those books you read, they either sound really scary or really good. Pebbles. Oh, message retracted. Oh, what did you write? Does anyone remember the Teletubbies? They are back. And yes, every now and then, if the children are having a slightly longer sleep than normal, excuse me, Teletubbies comes on. They are a bit different. They've been modernised. Oh, nice C-dubs. You use your telly like a radio. Yeah, do you know, I don't, because I don't like a lot of noise. So I like to have, unless I'm watching something, I don't like to have background noise. I don't even really put music on. But I know in my mum and dad's house, it's like the telly's always on now. And it's funny because growing up, we were told, don't put the telly on, you know, like we'd watch things and then turn that off. But my mum always had a radio on. But my mum seems to use the TV like a radio now. It's always on. And actually, she's got the radio on in the kitchen and the TV on in the living room. So sometimes I can feel a bit like I go in and we're trying to have a conversation and it's like, there's so much noise. 30 plus. He was working in a kitchen. He hit his head a few days before. His phone, passport, and wallet were found in his room. Oh, okay. So potentially he could have wandered off with some sort of concussion or something. That's weird. Yeah, that's difficult because you think everything he needed was in that room and he's wandered off somewhere. But you'd hope that somebody would have helped him if he looked a bit. But then there's people living on the streets, and if he had some head injury that came out later, as some of them do with the swelling and stuff, then he could just be living on the streets and not really know who he is. That must be really difficult for them. I'm just about to start a new book, White Smoke by Tiffany Jackson. It's a scary book. Well, we are coming to Halloween, aren't we? Yeah, see, I like quiet time. I think because when I've got the kids here, it's so noisy. And then when my family, you know, they all come home. Kenzie wears headphones, so that's not so bad. Actually, Brendan wears headphones a lot now as well. So it's not like it's really noisy in the house as such. But Lee's usually got something playing. Kenzie will be one that's like playing Fortnite, and he might have his phone playing something next to him as well. And you're like, how can you listen to both? Brendan's usually a headphone person. I very rarely see him without headphones. And Lee nearly always has a gadget of some sort playing something, whether it's, you know, a game, like the music from a game, or he's got some video, or sometimes he's doing something, he's got the laptop playing a YouTube video, and then he's trying to do something with a gadget, and so he's got music from the gadget going. So I think that's why I feel it's noisy, because usually the room I'm in with him has got various things playing. I do like the peace and quiet though of being here on my own. Bunny, how are you? Tony, good morning. Yeah, I am more blonde today as well. She didn't really cut very much of my hair, and I probably could have done with more of a cut. She said, oh, just give it a trim. When I looked on the floor, there wasn't very much taken off, and it just doesn't feel quite, it still feels quite thick. But bless her, my hairdresser was having a bit of a nightmare day, so I didn't push it. I was just grateful she rocked up and reblonded me and cut the boy's hair, to be honest. Peace and quiet is so rare, it's like a little bit of heaven. It is. I thrive on a bit of peace and quiet. I can do with nature sounds. I could be out there and just enjoy nature sounds. Oh, he shouts over the headphones, Julie. No, Kenzie just doesn't hear me. And then he goes, I've got my headphones on. And I'm like, you've always got your headphones on. I would like to be able to call you for, dinner or to come and help me with something. And you hear me. You need noise, silence drives you crazy. Oh, interesting. Do you have more silence around you, though, than noise? Like, are you in quite a quiet environment normally? I'm wondering if that's a difference. Oh, excuse me. This is what happens when I sit down and talk to people. I'm used to being on the go. So I've made myself flapjack this morning. Sugar-free but very fruity flapjack. And I have no idea what I'm cooking for dinner tonight, but I do have to go through that freezer, defrost lots of stuff and make some interesting meals. Get through this whole... I don't even know half the stuff that's in the freezer. The boys and I yesterday were going through eating frozen mango and frozen cherries, eating them like sweeties out of a pot last night because we're just trying to empty this fridge freezer ready for the new one coming. I was so shocked by the rating. Now Tink, one of my viewers and my moderator on my lives, he checked into what the guy told me about these new English ratings, and it's an old EU, it's the newer EU rating, but it's all the stickers are only just going on like now, even though it was from back 2017 or something. And so because the things that were A rating, newer models have come out that are better than what was an A rating, so it's like A plus, A plus plus. We had more and more pluses, so everything's been kind of reset. So things that would have been an A rating for energy like a year ago would now be classed as a D rating, because all of the newer ones that have come out were like A plus plus, and they're now the A rating. So it's just like to reset to cater for the new, more efficient appliances. So it's like a reset of the stickers. But it was very shocking to see lots of F rated appliances, because, and I see what Tink's saying, those probably would have been like your B ratings or something, and you'd have gone, oh, that's really good, I'd get one of those. But now they've put it as an F rating because there's so many more that have improved and are better. I'm like, I'm not buying that. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, I'm like, I'm not buying it as an F rating. And so we really did only have the choice of maybe one or two appliances, fridge freezers that we could buy. And I think the only other one that seemed pretty good, we decided we wouldn't get because it had got the water dispenser, and the water dispenser takes up room from the milk carton storage, and we have a lot of milk, so yeah, I wasn't going to do that. I need the milk. I wasn't interested in the water dispenser. But it was interesting. I'm glad Tink went and checked that, because I was a bit concerned that the rating had changed so much, but I can understand why it's changed now. Put a remote control red rotating light in their room. What are we talking about here? The boys' room? Red rotating light? Me waffling away, I've forgotten now. Can't deal with much noise, it drives my autism nuts. Yeah, yeah. I think that's part of it. I mean, Brendan's not good with noise, and unless it was his own noise, he can make his own noise, but he can't deal with other noise. We always said that, he could be incredibly noisy himself, but then he would shut down if it was noise in general. Can't move because I hurt my back. Oh, I hope your back improves. Get yourself some painkillers. When young, I loved music. Yeah, I always had music playing, always, but not so much now. Oh, Minxie, that's so kind of you. That's a very kind thing to say. Thank you. I don't feel it right now, I have to say. Oh. You have noise all the time. My dad has to have the radio. He can't hear that well. Mum sleeps with me when Mum tells me to turn off the telly. I got that, which is a lifesaver. Oh, okay. So you're used to having a lot of noise around. Maybe that's why you prefer it then. I don't know. See, I'm used to having noise, but I crave the silence. A water dispenser, but it's a waste of space. Yeah, that's how I'm seeing it. It's a waste of space. I just wouldn't use it. It'd be another thing that needs cleaning and another thing to remember to fill up. And it'd be one of those things that I suspect the boys would use and forget to fill, and I'd just be constantly going, would you fill it up? It's another thing to nag about, and I don't want to nag. Oh yes, good idea. Yes, if I had a red rotating remote control flashing light, so it gets their attention when they've got their headphones on. That's really good thinking. Yeah. Was it our old house? Back in the day when you could press like a thing and the bells would ring and lights would flash. Back in the old houses that had staff in the staff quarters, you'd see the buzzer and it'd say, drawing room, dining room. Except, it'd have to be a bigger flashing light. Mother needs you. It's called the kitchen tap. I have one of those too. And if you run it a little bit, it gets cold. So you have fresh cold water. It's got a melted ice shelf because the little ones like to push the button and make the fall. Yep, that's the other thing, is I imagine they'd push the drinks in, the cups in, it would spill, and then I'd be complaining because I'd stood in water. There's just too many potential problems with having a water dispenser or an ice dispenser on the front of my fridge freezer. So I said no, not having that one. You thought you were old. I lived in an old house. That's what it was. And I like old buildings. I think that's probably why I'm thinking of those things. But yeah, buzzers. When I moved into our old house, we had those round light, the light fittings, Bakelite type light fittings that stuck out the wall about that far with a little tiny flicky switch on it. We had those in most of the rooms. My goodness. Things I remember. We did move into a very old house. It did have the year on the side of it, but I can't remember what the year was. Right. How are we doing for time? I've got 20 minutes. 20 minutes left, and then I've got to crack on with my housework and paperwork. Oh, the clouds have come over again. I thought we were going to have sun. It's been absolutely chucking it down, but then the blue sky came. Now I'm getting chilly. It's because I've stopped moving. Lindsay's got to go. Try and have a shower. Oh, good luck. I hope you don't feel too rubbish. My tummy's rumbling. Did you hear that? It's like a growl. Rumbling away. Because I've got that flat jack and I'm thinking I'll help if you want. Yeah, go help her. Go scrub her back for her. Bring her a nice cup of tea and a biscuit. Maybe not in the shower because it'll get a bit soggy. Run her a bath. How about that? Have a bath with some bubbles. Yeah, Patrick, it really did. It rained all night long. I heard it just before I went to sleep. I heard it starting and thought, oh, but that's set in for the night. And then this morning I could hear the cars swooshing through the puddles. And then my sister-in-law messaged me and said, what's it like in the village before I get in the van and bring everything for forest school? Is it worth coming? And I sent this picture of I sent her a video clip of the trees being blown all over the place and an absolute downpour, and said to her, this is the current weather. Then typically within half an hour it had changed to beautiful blue sky, and I was like, we've cancelled the session now. Very frustrating. I do have laundry out that Lee hung up yesterday and then didn't bring in. So I went out this morning to let the kids in and went, oh, there's laundry out here, which of course was soaking wet. So I was thinking about bringing it in, but it was that wet that I think I should just leave it to continue dripping. And the wind's blowing it, the wind's picked up. So hopefully when I bring it in to put it on the radiator, most of the rainwater will have dripped out of it. God, the excitement of my life. Laundry. To be honest, I don't mind having a pretty uneventful life. I don't have any cravings for drama or excitement. I like things to just be chilled, plodding along. I don't know about you lot, but I like a simple life. Just simple. You've got sun at the moment, Bunny. Do you know, I was woken up at 5 this morning by Kenzie's alarm clock. I was most displeased. I said to him, do not set your alarm for 5 o'clock again. 6 o'clock is perfectly acceptable. It was supposed to rain yesterday. Thankfully it was nice and sunny. Yeah, it was a lovely day yesterday. My mum had clothes out. Yeah, we should have bought those in yesterday. And had I realised they were out there, I would have bought them in before going to bed. But unfortunately, I didn't know they were out there. And so now they're very soggy. My excitement is to do a list, as long as my arm... Oh, no. I do like a good list. I'm sorry you're feeling so rubbish. I do like a list to get through. Yay, Pippa, yay. Hello. Yeah, I do like a list, but I'm not always very good at getting through them. There's always jobs on the list that I don't want to do, and I end up putting them off. Yeah, Kenzie's phone made a lot of noise at 5 o'clock this morning. So Lee's been catching him on his phone in the evening when he's meant to have gone to bed. So we've right, phone on the outside the bedroom door, please, where we know you're not using it. But that does mean that the alarm goes off outside the bedroom door. And when it's at 5 o'clock in the morning, like, you don't need to get up at 5. The thing is, he doesn't. He just sort of sits in his bed. But 6 o'clock's fine. He doesn't have to leave till 7:25. So it gives him an hour and a half to wake up and have breakfast and what have you. He doesn't need to be awake at 5. That's crazy, because he doesn't even go to bed till 10, and he never goes straight to sleep. So he's not even getting a full sort of 8 hours sleep. And I think especially this year with his exams, he needs a decent night's sleep. So I'm going to have to get really firm with making him leave his phone outside the bedroom door, just so I know he's getting a decent full night's sleep. And Brendan had a terrible night. He's meant to have a driving lesson today, but he's messaged his driving instructor and said he really doesn't think he can do driving for 2 hours today, because he's literally had no sleep. He said he's dozed a couple of times, but he doesn't feel like he spent any time asleep. He's like he saw all the hours kind of thing last night, just tossing and turning. He doesn't know why, but he said he just found it so hard to sleep. So he's going to have a good day at work today. I don't know whether or not he'll actually do his driving. I said to her, the thing is, they might charge him anyway for the driving lesson. I don't know. It's £70. He pays £70 a week for his driving lessons because it's 2 hours, and it's £35 a lesson. So I said, that's a lot of money to lose if you're not going to do the lesson this week. We'll also have to homeschool a 12-year-old and a reluctant 5-year-old. Yes. Oh, yes. That's you need lists for that. To make sure you cover everything that you want to cover. You don't believe in alarms? If I didn't have alarms, then yeah, I'd never get up for work. It is a lot of money, but £35 an hour seems to be sort of standard for a driving lesson now, and it's a 2-hour lesson, so it's £70 every Monday for his lessons. It's an awful lot of money if he doesn't do the lesson. I can see what he's saying. He's tired and he's not had a lot of sleep, and you shouldn't really drive if you're not feeling totally focused. You shouldn't, be in charge of a vehicle, should you, if you're not completely on the ball. But I did say to him they may well still charge you for the late cancellation. I guess I'll find out when he gets home, won't I? What happened, whether he did it or not. Welcome to try and wake me up. Can't guarantee it'll be a nice response. Yeah, I might pass on that actually. Sound like you might bite your head off. I'm fine about being woken up. I'm just not very responsive. So I wouldn't bite your head off or throw anything at you. I just go, bring me tea. Actually, it's really good. Brendan's an absolute star. He brings me tea every morning when he gets up for work. He makes himself tea and then he brings us one. So about 10 to 7, just before 10 minutes before the alarm goes off, he sneaks into the room, doesn't turn the lights on or anything, but he comes in and it's enough to just wake me up a bit. He puts tea next to the bed, then he goes off downstairs, and then 10 minutes later the alarm goes off, and that's kind of Lee's, you've got 10 minutes before the next alarm, so think about getting up alarm. And then the 7:10 alarm goes off, and that's Lee's get your butt out of bed alarm, or the 7 o'clock alarm and the other 7 o'clock alarm, as we call it. And yeah, then I have an alarm that goes off at 7:30, which gives me half an hour to get up, get dressed, throw a bit of makeup on my eyes, and be downstairs ready for the kids arriving in the morning. But I'm usually awake from like 6:30, usually. Dozing on and off maybe for 5 minutes, but oh, excuse me. This is no good. I've been sat for too long. It's making me sleepy. Sorry. Are you all yawning now? You hated driving. Yeah, you've never loved driving lessons, have you, Laura? Do you still drive? I know you said you'd got a car, but you were thinking about getting rid of it because you never used it. But then you also said you wanted to start driving it more to get your confidence back. So how is that going? Yeah, I need an alarm too. Family friend that does driving lessons. Oh, okay. Well, that's helpful. Maybe she can. I mean, they're so hard to get hold of lessons at the moment. We were so lucky that this guy had some spaces. And I said to Brendan, "Don't mess him around. you've got you've got a driving slot. Don't mess it around." So we'll see. We'll see if he's done his driving lesson or not. Yeah, if he's tired, he shouldn't be. I know. Yeah. Showing my age, but when I was learning to drive, I paid less than £10. I paid 15, Patrick. I'm going to be very rude now, and I've probably asked you this in the past. How old are you? So I learnt when I was 17, and I passed when I was 19, I think. And I paid £15 a lesson for an hour. And I'm 44. I had an ex-friend come in and try and wake me up, tickling my feet, who ended up in the hospital with a broken jaw. Ouch. Is that why he's your ex-friend? Broke his jaw. He doesn't talk to me now. Oops. Yes. Well, he just doesn't have a sense of humour, does he? Yeah, that is sweet that he brings me tea. He knows that tea will fix most things with me. I don't think I'd like somebody tickling my feet, in all honesty. That would not be a way of waking me up that I was particularly happy about. Bought a lettuce from a store called Mamas and Poppers. Sounds like a baby shop. That does sound like a baby shop. Why a lettuce? The snooze button is evil. Yeah, because you just want to keep pressing it. You cannot eat it because all the leaves are brown. Okay, I get it. Right. Yes, thank you. Very good. I'd get up at 6 a.m. Never understood the obsession. Seems a problem waking me up for school. So if your mum wasn't in the house, you would get up at 6 a.m. But I wonder if it's because subconsciously you knew she wasn't there to wake you up. So your mind was like, mustn't oversleep, maybe? Oh, you sold your car. That's a shame. It was costing so much and wasn't using it. Yeah, no, you do get attached to your cars, don't you? But you're right. If you weren't using it, then it was just going to sit there and rot. So it's better that someone gets some use out of it and you get the money. You passed when you were 17. That was in 1985. So mine was 1996. I believe I passed. Oh, well, that's a nice way to wake up. The blanket off and stroking your face. Yeah, you see, I'd wake up, maybe not taking the blanket off. That'd make me a bit chilly. I always go with turning the light on. So when Lee gets up, the light goes on because that just wakes me up a bit more. Supposed to get up at 8:30. Alarm went off. Next thing I woke up, it was 10:30. I hate it when that happens. I do that. I mean, thankfully it doesn't happen work-wise because I'd have people banging on my door. But I've done it the weekend when I'm like, I'm going to get up at like 9 and do something constructive, and I'll have a bit of a lay-in but not a ridiculous lay-in, and then it's got to like 8:30 and I thought, oh, I'll just close my eyes for a little bit longer, and the next thing I know I've woken up and it's 10:30 and I'm like, well, that's ruined the morning. Like the morning's pretty much gone. You passed in 1978. That was when I was 1 year old, David. Drove for over 30 years without a valid driving license. Oh dear. That doesn't sound safe. I am a youngster. Yeah, well, I'm more young in mind than I am in body. The body is starting to feel its age. But I'm definitely young in mind. I'm so sorry for yawning. This is because I've sat down for more than 5 minutes. This is what happens. If I sit in one spot and talk or read, I start yawning. And it's like I get tired. And I wonder if that's why I'm constantly on the go. Or is it that I'm always on the go and therefore when I stop, I'm tired? I wonder, it's like a chicken and the egg, isn't it? I wonder which comes first. We can't turn lights on because I always have my little brother sleeping in my room, and sometimes I'm sleeping small children in a bed as well. Oh, so they don't need to wake up at the same time as you? Yeah, that is difficult if you're sharing a room with others. Only illegal if you get caught. No, I think you'll find it's generally illegal, whether you get caught or not. A great way of not ever breaking the law or having an accident. I drove very defensively. You drove very defensively. What's that? So what you're expecting defensively. So aggressively is when you're very heavy on the brake and the accelerator and squeezing into spaces. I wonder if it comes with the job, Julie, because we're running around like a million miles an hour, and then when we're not, we're just like, ugh. So defensive driving, what's that? Is that expecting people to do stupid things so you drive slower and maybe? Anyway, you're driving without a license. It's bad. Innocent like you. No, I wouldn't want to either, Bunny. I'm very much a rule sticker to the rule. You just drive very carefully and avoid anyone else who is aiming at you. Well, I kind of, is that not just driving? Rather than defensive driving? That's kind of driving in my book. You just avoid anything that looks like it wants to hit you and don't aim for things. See, I look around and if I think someone's going to do something stupid, then I go, okay, well, I'll just slow down a little bit or, let them past or whatever. But I've been in cars with people who go, they're going to do that. And then they've told me they're going to do it. If they can see the person's going to do something stupid, they're going to cut me up. And then they put the foot down so they don't cut them up. But they almost end up having an accident because the car's trying to pull in front of them. And you're just like, you saw it coming. Why did you do it? Did it mean that much to you to be in the right? You could have ended up having an accident. I don't get that at all. It drives me crazy. That sort of driving really bugs me. If you actually see the thing that you suspect is going to happen and then you don't change your driving to accommodate what you think they're going to do. Does that make sense? I'm sure everybody knows people that drive like that. Yeah, I won't get in a car with people that drive really badly. I remember several of my male friends in my late teens, early 20s, who had accident after accident. I went in the car once with one of them, and I hated it. And so I drove whenever I could. I wouldn't get in a car with them. And they wrote off so many cars and had so many accidents. But it really was, it was stereotypical boy racers. It was awful. It was horrible. There's no way I'd get in a car with them. Yes, I know many people like you, aviation fan, who drive like that. But that just causes more accidents. Yeah, that's what I do. Give everyone else loads of space and assume everyone else is a maniac on the road. And then that way you're less likely to get in some sort of horrific accident in general life, let alone in a car. Yeah, it's true. I'm just like, you lot want to kill yourselves, you get on with it. Just leave me alone over here in my little bit. And I tend to trundle along as well. I'm not a slow driver, but I'm not one of these foot on the accelerator, brake, foot on the accelerator, brake. I go up through the gears. I have pride in my gear changes. I want my gear changes to be almost undetectable by my passengers. Not, I want my passengers to not notice that I've necessarily changed gear, if that makes sense. And that might have come from a boyfriend I had when I was learning to drive. He was very much about taking pride in your driving. And he was 21, so he was older than my friends who had cars, who were lads. Maybe he'd outgrown that, maybe he'd been through that and had outgrown it when I was 16, because he was 5 years older than me, my first proper boyfriend. And also he was driving his dad's car, which was a Renault Estate, so it's not like it was some sporty boy racer car. But he always said, take pride in your gear changes. And he always did this thing where he didn't want me to feel the gear changes. So maybe that's where it comes from. Don't know. Licenses you want to place if you're going through something that size. Yeah, might has right. Yeah, might has right. Changing gear while driving is bad. Please wait until you get home to change. Very good, David. Very good. Right. Well, we are hitting the hour now, aren't we? And as much as I'd like to stay here and chitter chatter to you lot, I should really go and do the rest of these progress books, and I should go and wash the bath. That's the only bit of the bathroom I haven't cleaned. And I should go and eat one of my flapjacks, and I should dust in here. And I should go and shut that door because it's flipping freezing. The clouds have come over again, and now there's a breeze again. I think I should, you know, do the responsible grown-up thing and get on with my jobs. But, what are you butting? A young man I went to college with wrapped his car around a tree, killed himself and his girlfriend. Yeah, my sister's friend. You stays. So my sister lost a lot of her peers at school in the first year of them driving. Got to the point whenever we heard about a car accident, like the morning after it had happened or what have you, my mum was like, it's going to be somebody Jackie knows. It's going to be somebody Jackie knows. And the amount of times we drove with didn't drive with candles, but, you know, we drove to the site of the accident the next day and lit a candle. It was just ridiculous. And they were all sort of 16, 17, well, 17, they were all 17-year-olds who just passed the tests. It was terrible. Terrible. Runs to you, picks you up. You stays. Oh, thanks for wanting me to stay, but I can't. I've got jobs to do. Oh, you had to explain your joke to Bunny. Yeah, gear, you know, change your gear. Right. Thank you very much for watching, you lovely lot. But I am going to have to go and do things that need to be done. But. Sorry, I do need to go and do things. There will be a vlog later. You can watch that if you like. It's not quite the same as chit chat. It's not as interactive. Sorry. Anyway, thank you for watching, you lovely lot, and I will see you. Humps, was that? Humps. I'll see you all in the vlog later, hopefully. Come talk to me on the vlog.